I'm just gonna go to bed. Welcome in to another whole home edition of Sport Ball. You know what? Might as well turn this off right now because this ain't gonna be anything special. Am I right, boys?
I was thinking about turning it off right now as well.
I'm wondering why I'm here.
Kyle and I are matching color exactly. It's like if you put up a paint palette to something else that was a color.
It's called maroon. We each wear it.
Cheers to that, my friend. Also, have you tried this beer, Kyle? Fuzz County?
No, you know me. I'm sipping on a classic
Guinness?
Guinness, baby, till we die. Seth, what are you sipping on these days?
Guinness. You know what's in us.
How have I not heard you say that before?
That got better the more I thought about it. Seth has a big jug of water. It could be his own urine. We haven't confirmed yet. This is a jam-packed pod, boys. It is the Wednesday before March Madness. We are going to give you our March Madness preview at the end here. Keep in mind that by the time you hear this, it'll be Friday, and you'll already know that we're wrong.
I'm gonna post it I'm gonna post it tonight.
Good. Okay.
But most people usually wait 24 hours, before they get around to listening. Yeah.
But first, we're going to go to our bread and butter, the NFL and the NBA, to start us off, because we have some wild things happening in both leagues. I want to start with the NFL offseason. And I don't know if I don't recall offseasons prior, but this seems to be a flurry of movement this year, more than I remember in the past. The most important thing probably that happened that kicked off free agency in the offseason in general was the Bears, your Chicago Bears, trading the first pick overall to the Carolina Panthers. And boy, someone's got to hose me down because this was exciting. So the Panthers got the number 1 pick. The Bears in return got number 9, number 61 this year, a first rounder in 2024, a 2025 second rounder, and DJ Moore, baby. The man Kyle and I have coveted for years comes home to our loins finally. Kyle, I'm excited. You're excited. Tell us why.
Well, I mean, I think we always knew the best way to play this out was for the Bears to trade this pick, acquire more picks, acquire additional talent. And I think kind of the whole Jalen Carter incident pre-NFL Combine might have played a factor, right? Again, I don't think we were going to keep the pick, but that's what a lot of experts were expecting. If we did keep it, right, Jalen Carter was essentially a no miss. But, you have the allegations, maybe not really allegations, but he ran a man off the road, essentially, or ran a teammate off the road. They were drag racing down the streets. I don't know, something of the sort. We just witnessed the pro day as well for Georgia this week. Bears attended. Jalen Carter didn't partake in most of the measurements, the 40, things like that. He did get weighed. He's 9 pounds heavier than he was just a couple weeks ago at the Combine. And he wasn't able to finish the drills that he did partake in. So I think he's dropping down a lot of people's boards. Is it just an act to drop down those boards to get to a team that he wants? Who the hell knows?
He could definitely drop to 9.
Oh, he'll drop to 9 for sure. He might drop out of the top 15 at this point. All that to say, the Bears fucking did it. We've got we got an additional first round, or we still stayed in the top 10 this year. Got another first round pick next year. Got a second round pick in 2025 and another second round pick this year, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I listed at the beginning.
You are mistaken.
Sorry, you're right. Yeah, we got 61 this year, and then we got a first next year and a second in 25.
Killed it.
I mean, I expected like 3 firsts. I basically expected this year's first and 2 firsts, and I viewed DJ Moore as kind of a first in value.
Exactly. So that's the best way to look at this, right? It's because if we were to draft any wide receiver from this draft class, we would be ecstatic if their peak was what DJ Moore has already done in the NFL in his 5 years he's been in the league, where he's had 3 years over 1,000 receiving yards with some of probably the most atrocious quarterbacks
The man
that
gets
there's
a
been.
1,000 yards with Sam Darnold and PJ Walker, and like every catch feels like a
And
miracle.
Cam
yet he
Newton, who
still gets
couldn't
it done.
throw at the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So
Like
I
he's
mean,
kind of like a tier below AJ Brown, right, Kyle? But he could still, help Fields like AJ Brown helped Hurts, right?
yeah, I mean, people think of him as a tier below, but I'm obviously optimistic, and I've been a DJ Moore truther since day one. I honestly, I think he could be just as good in the right environment. But yes, I think all in all, he's going to do what AJ Brown has done for Hurts and what Steph Diggs has done for Josh Allen, right? That's the hope, that's the expectation, and that's the plan.
And get this. If we have a number one for Fields and it turns out, Fields doesn't quite have it, on that level, Carolina is still going to be really bad next year. We're going to have a high pick next year from this 2024 first. Go attack the quarterback then. I mean, it left us still wide open with options.
Correct. Yeah. And I mean, I don't think after this year, first year with talent around Fields, it all depends on how we address this offensive line situation, to be honest with you. Because if we don't do a good job at that, it's still going to be really hard to assess Fields, especially as a passer, if he's still like one of the most pressured quarterbacks in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. I mean, like I still have high hopes for Fields. Everyone's saying like, oh, well, he's just going to follow the Hurts path. Like, I mean, that would be awesome. Like we've only really seen that happen once so far. So, we shall see. But if I even get 80% of Hurts, I'll be pretty happy. So I think we're going to find out this year, like you said, if we shore up the offensive line, what Fields really has. And I honestly think we can make some noise this year if we play out the rest of free agency correctly.
Well, here's the thing too, our division. I mean, Green Bay's about to lose
Kyle.
Aaron Rodgers. He's essentially already said he is.
Seth, you still have Kirk Cousins, right? So
is a New York Jet. Yes, Minnesota still has Kirk Cousins, and they lost Adam Thielen, who really didn't do too much last year, but I feel like was a safety blanket for Kirk when needed. And then you have, the Lions, who I think are an ascending team, but I think there's still question marks at the same time as to can they really sustain a winning season, because we haven't seen it in years.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the Vikings were frauds last year, right? They won 8 games by a score of 7 or less and lost in the first round to fucking. And I can't even think of his name. He's so bad.
We lost 8 games of 1 score or less. So
I just think the division's pretty open. I mean, I think the Vikings are probably the favorites. I wonder where the betting odds are right now, but it seems like it's pretty open.
I'd agree. And we still have. You haven't even.
You trying to make a better record bet Vikings or Bears next year?
Let me see how it finishes.
Yeah.
Let me see how free agency finishes.
That's the thing too. We haven't touched on the other moves that the Bears have made.
Yeah, well, I mean, we shored up our linebacking core. We don't have to go too in depth with it, but we got Edmonds from the Bills, and we got the Eagles linebacker that his name escapes me.
TJ Edwards.
Mm-hmm, yeah. So I think
we still got $50 million plus to spend.
Maybe we'll spend on Adam Thielen, huh? Maybe we'll see him in a Bears uniform next year. Seth, what did you think about this Bears trade as an unbiased fan? Although you kind of hate the Bears, so it's like the opposite bias, but
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely the type of deal that I would have wanted as a Bears fan. I saw a few people commenting like, why did they make this trade now? They could have waited till closer to the draft, maybe gotten even more. Even more. But overall, like, I think it's definitely a good move. DJ Moore is a legit number 1 wide receiver, which is a big part of what you were missing. And clearly that first overall pick was not as valuable to the Bears as it is to other teams because the Bears have Fields. So, and then, yeah, I think it does make a big difference who you get a first round pick from, and, expecting the Panthers to still be at least pretty bad next year makes that more valuable than maybe first round picks offered from other teams. So overall, I think it was a good move for the Bears. I do obviously think they're going to be better next year. I agree with you that the offensive line is still a question mark. But as someone who owned Justin Fields on my fantasy team for a little while in our guillotine league last year, I'm a believer.
DJ Moore's 5 years in Carolina, he's accrued 5,200 receiving yards in those 5 years, would be an all-time record for the Bears, and his total receptions in those 5 years would be third all-time for a Bears receiver. That's in his first 5 years in the league.
Wow, he's almost on par with Mike Evans with those kind of stats.
You watch
except he can catch the ball and do stuff afterwards.
He's not just an accumulator.
Good try. It's a compiler, I think.
Accumulator.
Okay, you're right. Sorry. Do they have division odds up yet, Kyle? Have you seen them?
I mean, sure honestly, I haven't peeked, but I could tell you.
I'm on DraftKings right now, but I'm not sure they have it up yet.
Probably not.
I would be curious to see what our division looks like. We should talk about who you guys think Carolina is going to take at number 1 after this trade. I think their options include Bryce Young, great player, but shorter than me. They got CJ Stroud, great pocket passer, not too mobile. They got Will Levis, tall and mediocre. And you got Anthony Richardson, who's like, what is he like, Kyle? Like a Lamborghini if you didn't have any parts for it, something like that.
Yeah, that's probably fair.
So who would you take at 1, Kyle? Would you take a stab at someone like Richardson, or would you play it a little more safe?
No, I wouldn't do it at 1. Like,
yeah, I think it's fair.
I think if they have their eyes set on Richardson and that's their guy, I think they could trade back and still get him. Like, say the Colts have their eyes set on someone, it's either Stroud or Young probably, and they want to ensure they get that pick. Hey, and Carolina's set on Richardson. I think they could trade down to that 4 spot and kind of recoup some of the assets they had to give up to move up to there. So and go with Richardson at that spot. So I think if they stay put, it's probably got to be Stroud or Young. And honestly, I would lean Stroud, just, size wise, accuracy. He put on like a clinic at the combine. And you want to say that he's not mobile. Might I remind you that he was never mind. I'm thinking of something differently. Never mind.
Yeah, but the way he passed, and like, I know nothing about scouting, but it seems like scouts were like, wow, that's one of the best like passing performances at the combine I've ever seen. So it's kind of like, oh, this guy's like really good at passing. That seems important for playing quarterback. I think that would be a safe pick there. I found the NFC North division odds. Would you guys like to be apprised?
I'm going to say it's Vikings, Lions, Bears. Those are the top 3.
No, it's actually pretty shocking. Is everyone sitting down? All right. Your Detroit Lions are plus 150 to win the division. The Vikings are plus 270. The Packers are plus 330. And the Bears are plus 350. So it is wide open. Like, it's from plus 150 to plus 350, really tight in there.
Do you think what is shocking about that? The Lion, you just think the Lions are favorites? Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's reasonable. I just didn't realize the betting public was already there in their mind's eye.
I certainly wouldn't be there, but
you still favor your Vikings?
Yeah, of course.
Are you aware who is your quarterback, or have you forgotten?
Actually, we're gonna start an upturned mop with a bucket for a head, so we might as well just stop dancing around it.
when we're talking about NFC North odds and a certain quarterback who's leaving. The bad man is gone, boys. We can now rejoice. Aaron Rodgers to the Jets is essentially official. We're not sure the terms yet. We're not sure, what the contract is, what needed to be traded out, but it seems like it's pretty much a done deal. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that makes a big impact on the Jets? Do you like their chances after getting Rodgers? Are you just kind of relieved that he's gone? Well, how are you feeling right now?
I'll take this, I guess. I mean, yes, I'm relieved that he's gone. I saw a really funny meme earlier today or late last night about the whole situation, since it's come out that essentially Rodgers is making demands before even being signed by the Jets as to who they should be signing and trading for. They said it's really impressive that Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback of the Packers, the GM of the Jets, and the owner of the Bears all at the same time.
Oh, it's fucking hilarious. It
What
seems
I
like
don't
what actually
understand
happened
is what I don't understand is like why he wanted to leave the Packers at all, right? Ostensibly because they didn't put good weapons around him, right? And then he goes to the Jets and tells them to get all of the weapons that he had in Green Bay. Like, what? You want Alan Lazard?
It seems like, I feel like what happened was they asked him like, hey, like, do you have any like requests for players? Like, who you interested in? And he listed players, and then all their reporters like, Aaron Rodgers demands Randall Cobb be sent to the Jets. Like, I feel like that's what happened. That being said, they're probably going to try to placate him, and they already have with Alan Lazard. But he's actually good, though.
Is he, though?
I mean, he's better than, who was their third receiver, like Denzel Mims or something?
Yeah.
Denzel's kind of sneaky good, though.
I'll never forget Denzel. But the other thing that I'm wondering is, like, does Aaron actually want these wide receivers? Or is he just essentially saying, I'm out of here, and I'm going to take anyone that I possibly can with me just to fuck you over as much as possible? The Jets are like, yeah, we'll do it too. Why the hell not?
Well, really who he wanted was A, Alan Lazard, who, like I said, is actually good. B, Randall Cobb, who's his best friend. So that's reasonable. Like, if I was going to the Jets, I'd be like, can I have Seth and Kyle, please? Thank you. And then C, he wanted
Odell Beckham Jr. And
well,
he
that's
said,
different.
Who wouldn't want Odell Beckham?
He wanted Mercedes Lewis, who's like a blocking tight end.
Oh, yes,
fine.
He wants him too.
That's fine. He's like, every like person who actually knows football is like, do you see the way Mercedes Lewis blocks? So I guess
how old is Mercedes Lewis, though?
I think he's 45.
He didn't like playing with any of them in Green Bay. Like,
who knows why maybe he just wanted a little warmer weather, so he went to New York,
He probably completely lost faith in the Packers organization of adding like weapons around him. So he was like, let me uproot the guys that I do like, and then just go to somewhere else that has weapons already defined.
I mean, Garrett Wilson is better than anyone he had last year easily. Yeah,
of course.
And Elijah Moore too. Can't forget about
I don't know.
Elijah.
I mean, I think, what is this to make the Jets like a wild card team, probably?
Yeah, I think they should be a playoff team, but it's just
Jets are definitely a playoff team.
But their division, I mean, they have the Bills, and we're about to talk in a second about how Miami stacked up. So it's definitely not an easy one.
The whole AFC is stacked. It's like,
yeah,
I see them as a wild card team. We shall see if the Bills slip up. But I mean, we should mention, we'll just go right into it. Miami also in the arms race as well, traded for Jalen Ramsey. The Rams in return got the number 77 pick and tight end Hunter Long, who I'm not ashamed to say I've never heard of. Not sure if it's Justin Long's brother, but so the Miami is all in on 2023-24 season. And should they be, with the uncertainty about Tua? I mean, listen, without a healthy Tua, they're not doing anything. And they also have to get past the Bengals and the Chiefs anyway, and the Bills in their own division. So, I mean, what are you going to do? Just sit around with your dick in the hand because there's good teams in the AFC? You should still try to be good. But
I mean, don't worry. They signed Mike White as a backup. So
is Mike White better than Tua? Coming up next. What do you guys think about this fit for Miami? I mean, Jalen and Xavier going to be pretty locked down secondary, right?
Yeah, I mean, that was an ascending defense, which I think we've talked about, at least I have in the past. And I think we've talked about plenty of times as well, you know, paying for those possible game-changing type players. And there's not a lot of them at cornerback, but I think Jalen Ramsey is one of, if not the premier game-changing cornerback in the NFL. So, well, you might be able to say that's Sauce Gardner now.
Sauce.
Yeah. So
Sauce is that fucking boy, man.
Right. So I mean, he's up there, right? Either way, Jalen's up there. So we saw what their offense could do last year with a healthy Tua. You pray he stays healthy and doesn't have any more of these insane head injuries throughout the season. And you just bolstered your defense, which was already decent and at least passable. So I don't know. Things are looking up again. It's that whole, all the AFC, but the AFC East is going to be a tough one next year.
Yeah, I think, Seth, doesn't it feel like if Tua stays healthy, we're looking at 2 out of 3 AFC wildcards coming from the East there?
Yeah, I mean, it's always hard. I feel like there's always some wildcard teams that we don't expect before the season. But, to answer your question about should Miami really go all out for next year, I think I like the move for Ramsey. They didn't give up that much to get him. Obviously, it's a big contract, but I don't know what else you really do other than hope. Like, it seems like to me, like Tua, for his health the rest of his life, probably like shouldn't play football again. Certainly not if he gets another concussion. But I kind of feel like that's a separate discussion, and they're operating under the hope that he'll be fine. And yeah, if he is fine next year, I think they stack up, just as well against the Bengals, the Bills, Chiefs, etc. in the AFC. So
I mean, football is a 1-game thing, right? In the playoffs. So just takes one injury or one weird bouncing ball and you're in the Super Bowl. So
yeah.
Wish that would happen for the Bears, but all right. That's all I have on NFL offseason. You have stuff to add, Kyle?
Yeah, I was gonna break some news here on this podcast.
Whoa. Wait, let me do a little ESPN breaking news. What's the thing? Yeah.
I think that was it. 4-time Pro Bowl tackle, Super Bowl champ, Orlando Brown Jr.
Oh yeah, I saw that already. He's going to the Bengals.
Thank you. It was not even an hour ago. But I think that's pretty
that's huge.
Important news. Yeah. We've talked many times, and I think we saw in the results of how many times Joe Burrow was hit, pressured, or sacked last year, that offensive line needed some upgrades. Well, by golly, they got it with Orlando Brown. So
now they did lose both their safeties, which is tough for anyone.
Yeah, but I mean, you give Joe Burrow all the time in the world to throw the ball, they're dropping 35 plus a game anyway. So
who needs defense? Yeah, they're gonna be back in it for sure. All right, you guys want to hit NBA now?
Yeah, why not?
All right, I've come up with yet another gimmick that will be lambasted by both you and the audience. I call it NBA. Do you believe? Nobody's doing this. Okay, you look at other pods; they're not doing this shit. All right. Number 1, you guys are going to love this one. Everyone strap in and strap on. Should I explain the game? I guess it's going to become clear. I'm just going to say, do you believe? And then make a statement, and then they're going to answer. I think everyone would have gotten that.
I never would have expected that's how the game would work.
All right. Do you believe the Sacramento Kings can make the West Finals?
Okay, can or will?
It's a simple question. I won't give you more information.
Okay, I'll say yes.
Yes.
I got to say yes, because here's the thing. Okay. We got to open our minds to this. And I'll admit, when you and I, was it Kyle or I think it was all of us were talking, I was skeptical like about 2 weeks ago. But the way the bracket is shaking out, let's say the Kings get the Timberwolves or the Mavs first round, I think they're going to win that series. And then
Definitely.
they're gonna play the Grizzlies if the Grizzlies even win in the second round. And I gotta say, Ja Morant might not be back this season. We don't know, right?
I think he's going to be back.
There are whispers, rumblings. So he's eligible to come back Monday, but
He
we are
spent
not
a
sure.
day in Florida for mental health intake or something like that, right? He's good to
You
go.
know, yeah.
He just
a
had
day
an
in
interview
Florida.
with Jalen Rose.
Yeah, did he
he's
say
back.
anything about coming back?
I didn't watch all of it.
Me either.
I just saw that when they asked him whose gun it was, he said, "It's not my gun. I don't condone violence. That's not like me."
But he takes full responsibility.
Yeah,
How did Jalen's hairline look though?
you already know.
Okay, well,
I think I even
gotta,
saw his barber sitting in the background of the video. Just every time it cut away from him, they trimmed him up a little bit.
well, listen, I gotta say, I just have questions about the Grizzlies either way. Like, is Steven Adams going to come back? Brandon Clark is one of their most important players, and he's out with an Achilles.
It's been brutal.
So there is definitely a path. I mean, if you get the 2 seed, you got to have a chance, right?
Yes.
Like the motherfucking beam, baby.
I think they
Let's
have a
go.
chance against anybody in the West, regardless of how the matchups ended up shaking out.
Light the beam and flick the beam.
Now can I throw some water on my own hypothesis? If you'd allow me.
I'll allow it.
They are 25th in defense right now, which means there's only 5 teams worse than them.
Which
will
all
mention-
of them are tanking, probably.
Exactly. Like, it's going to be tough with that defense. Like, no team has made the finals with a defense in the bottom 10 since I think it was 2002 Lakers, who had Shaq and Kobe and they'd already been to 2 finals. They were just kind of turning the switch. This is obviously not a turn the switch.
Sabonis
team.
and Fox.
Shaq and Kobe or Sabonis and Fox. So that does worry me for sure. But I mean, the West looks wide open, right, guys? I mean, Seth, this Nuggets team has lost 4 in a row. And
What goes on here?
You look at the Suns, they have KD out until the playoffs. I mean, it seems wide open, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm ultimately going to still believe in the Nuggets and believe that come playoff time, Jokic will be his usual self, where time after time we see him as the best offensive player in the regular season, and then he finds a way to be even better in the playoffs. And, Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter Jr., like having all of them, even though they've been on this skid, I feel like I'm still going to have them as the favorites in the West. But there's just so many question marks about every other team. It's hard to imagine a scenario that seems preposterous. It's like you could tell me 10 different Western Conference Finals matchups, and I would be like, yeah, I could see that happening.
100%.
LeBron comes back healthy. The way the Lakers are playing right now, they might be the first play-in team. Obviously, we haven't had that for very long, but the first play-in team to make the finals. It's a reality at this point.
They could easily get out of the play-in too. I got to eat crow on that, Kyle, because
1 or 2 games out from being out of the play-in.
I got to eat crow on that because I was very confident they were not even going to make the play-in. I even bet you I made a small wager on such a thing, and I was wrong.
Yeah, I mean, season's not over yet, but I will have to say, I do feel very confident since LeBron tweeted a picture of himself in a cryo chamber, essentially being like, time's ticking. He's doing good.
He was away from the team for a week, and I think he was getting like baby blood from Germany. So I gotta say, yeah, I think legit like 7 or 8 teams could make the finals in the West. And now one of them isn't the New Orleans Pelicans. So I don't know if you guys want to apologize for that now for putting them in.
Is one of them the
circle.
OKC Thunder?
I mean,
how wild would that be, dude?
Ooh, Man, I would love to see SJ make a playoff run. Kyle, are you nervous at all about the Nuggets? Because I was
Yes.
listening.
Yeah. Highly.
I was listening to the low post the other day, and they were trying to figure out their seventh best player. And boy, it was a
Seventh
dicey
best.
conversation. Yeah, it was like Bruce Brown's the
Yeah.
sixth. Okay, and then is it Christian Brown? Is it Jeff Green?
Jeff Green, it's not a talented player. That's for certain.
Yeah, it's Jeff Green, unfortunately.
Uncle Jeff.
But I mean, like you just mentioned, right? They're on quite the losing streak right now. And like the teams that they've been losing to,
Your Chicago Bulls started it off.
yeah, right. The Bulls, the Spurs, the tanking Spurs, straight up clowned them essentially. The Nets, and then the Raptors. Okay, whatever. But like the main theme from every single one of those games, these teams were attacking Jokic in the paint, and he just wasn't doing anything. Was he not doing anything because he just doesn't care anymore and they're secured for a playoff spot? Or like, I don't understand, but he was just getting clowned essentially.
That's long been my worry in the playoffs, right? Seth, is that can Jokic ever get over the hump and win the finals? Being a subpar defender at his position, or maybe average, but he's certainly not elite in that end.
Did you hear? Was that on Zach's pod where he talks about how many kickball violations Jokic has?
Yeah,
He's
That was
like 45.
unbelievable.
I don't know why he's mad about it though. That's just
No, I
probably
don't think he
smart
should be mad
defense.
about it. But it's just he has 45 and the second leader is 17. It's like unbelievable.
He's figuring out new angles, baby.
Whatever it takes. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I still have to have them as my top choice out of the West, but it's one of those things where, okay, they have like a 20% chance, and the other team, there's 5 other teams all with like chances in the teens. I feel like, rather than some years where it's like, all right, 70% chance the Warriors are gonna make the finals. Like, so this last week or so has been concerning, and obviously past playoff performance from Denver adds to that concern.
Yeah, I think I would have picked the Suns, honestly, before this KD injury, but like he's going to come back maybe right at playoff time, and it's really just hard to coalesce as a team under those circumstances, and they certainly have the most talent, but that was the worry, right? When you put KD and CP3 together, who are oft injured at this point of their career, you really can't count on them being healthy for a playoff run, I don't think.
It's all about health with them for sure.
That means light the beam, baby. The Kings are going to the West Finals, maybe the NBA Finals. Who knows? Can you imagine a Kings like Celtics or Bucks matchup and how they would just get destroyed?
Can you imagine
the Celtics? I mean,
can you imagine the team that set the record for the longest playoff drought in the major 4 sports, and then when they break the playoff drought, they go to the finals?
I think we all got to be rooting for the Kings, man. It's so fun. Their fans are so into it too. It's awesome.
I'm bringing it back. I used to be a Kings fan in the C-Web days. They were like my first team that I watched when I was a little kid.
That was really fun team. All right.
That boy, white chocolate.
Asia, all them.
Dude, white chocolate, you would look up like old highlights of him, and you'd think he was like better than Magic
the greatest
Johnson.
NBA player in history. He's like Steve Nash, but better.
I might just start showing Riley just highlights of him, and she's going to end up growing up thinking like he's the greatest basketball player that's ever touched a ball.
Nobody tell her. All right. Second, do you believe? Do you believe this will be the closest MVP race since 2017? Now, some background here. Usually not that close, the MVP. 2017, Russell Westbrook won. You may remember this was the Russ Harden Kawhi year. Pretty similar, where there were 3 good candidates, right? So Russ had 888 points, Harden 753, Kawhi 500. Usually the winner, I was just looking back at Basketball Reference, usually the winner has like high 900, high or 1,000 points. So that was really close. A couple other close ones was 2007 Dirk versus Nash, 2005, Nash versus Shaq. That was really close. Nash with 1,066 points and Shaq with 1032. That was probably the closest two-man race. But this year, as you guys know, we have Jokic, Giannis, and Embiid fighting it out. And I think when you have that third candidate, you have a real chance to get another 2017, right? Where it's really, really even in a very close race. What do you guys think? You guys think we're headed for kind of a photo finish here?
I think so. Yeah, I will tell you too. After tonight's Philadelphia game, the odds have actually flipped, and Embiid is now the favorite to win the MVP. He has been on an absolute tear recently. Obviously, I mean, just the whole year he's been outstanding, but man, the Sixers are looking really scary at just the right time.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, what do the standings even look like?
I mean, the Sixers
East
have the
these
same
days?
record essentially as the Nuggets, and
Yeah, and they're
so
what, like
that,
4 or 5 games out of first in the East, though.
so that edge for Jokic is kind of out the window if you have the same record. The Bucks obviously have the best record
they're 4
in the
games,
league
yeah.
at 50-19, but Giannis has missed more games and has kind of worse advanced stats. But
Mhm.
yeah, what do you think, Seth? I mean, the other thing is that you look at the schedule, and the Nuggets are playing both the Bucks and the Sixers in a week, and the Sixers are playing the Sixers are playing the Bucks too that same week. So we're going to see them all play each other, and that's got to factor in a little bit for voters, right?
Yeah, I'm probably end up factoring in a little bit more than it should with recency bias, and it's like, okay, it's an award for the entire regular season, not just who finished on top. But yeah, I think it's definitely shaping up to look like it's going to be a tight race, which is kind of funny when I think we all look at the Tim Bontemps straw poll. Like the last one, Jokic was winning by a mile, at least in terms of first place votes. So maybe it's just some like groupthink with where we were at in the season at the time. But I definitely think all three are viable candidates, and can't really go wrong. So
That at the time even seemed like way too Jokic favorite. It should have been more even, I thought, at the time. That was weird. Gun to your head, who would you guys have right now? Kyle, do you still have Jokic?
I want to say Jokic, especially because I want to see back-to-back MVPs, but it's getting really hard. I'm going to stick with him for now. It's getting really hard not to say Embiid, though, to be honest with you. I don't really like Embiid as a player, but more so as a person. But,
for me, I feel like when we're in this situation where we have three guys who have easily like good cases for MVP and maybe in another year would be the favorite, then I feel like the tiebreaker should be which player is better. And I think we all would agree if we're just picking who we want to be on our team, we'd all take Giannis. So I think Giannis should be the MVP because he's the best player in the league.
I kind of agree, honestly. Like, he's the best player on the best team. The Bucks are 50-19. I know he's missed more
how many games
than these
he
other
missed?
guys.
Yeah.
Right. It might come down to that, but like, I think he's the best player in the league. I think I would lean him right now, but it's so tight. These are, and it's cool because these are, you don't always get this, I guess, but these are the three best players in the league, and it's just cool to see them battle it out, and we could have this for years to come. I mean, I think Steph and KD have an argument if they're healthy, but these three are always available, and it's cool that they're all kind of centers or big men, right? That we have a little renaissance of that happening here. We thought the center was dead.
Giannis
I do
and Embiid
wonder
have actually played the
historically.
same amount of games.
Okay, yeah.
There you go. I do wonder historically, like how we're going to look back on this. So if we don't know how it's going to play out, right? But at the moment, right, Jokic has 2 and Giannis has 2 MVPs and Embiid has 0. And I think we all kind of agree they're roughly as talented as each other. Like Embiid is maybe a half step below. But I just wonder, like, is Embiid going to be kind of shortchanged as we look back on history, where
Mhm.
when we think back on, oh yeah, Giannis and Jokic are these like top 15 players of all time, whatever. When you stack up multiple MVPs, that's already rarefied air. And then is Embiid going to be like, have a case where we think of him more in the 40s or something, when it's like he played against those people and was like just as good as them during their primes.
Right.
Now I say that being an Embiid hater, so I guess I won't mind that much.
It's gonna feel like he's owed, right? It already kind of feels like he's owed one.
Yeah, and so I think that definitely gives him an edge this year, because he hasn't won one before, and people kind of feel like he deserves one for the bulk of his work the last 3 years or so.
And it's
so
like
I would predict it goes to Embiid.
And it's like, and we know it's a regular season award, but it would be kind of weird if Jokic won 3 in a row and he didn't win a championship. And like,
Don't even get me started on that. That's the dumbest argument that I hear on these podcasts and stuff.
I know it's a regular season award, but it's gonna feel weird.
You shouldn't even think about past achievements at all. We should be looking at this one moment in time, the last 6 months, and that's it.
But it's gonna be crazy. Say Jokic never wins a championship and he won 3 straight MVPs.
It'll be an anomaly in the history of the NBA. I'd agree, but it shouldn't play a factor. And that's the thing, though, is like,
it will, though.
Who are these voters? Yeah,
it will play a factor. But you're right, it shouldn't.
Despicable.
Okay, I have one more. Do you believe? And maybe Kyle hinted at his feelings when talking about the Sixers. Do you believe anyone can come out of the East besides the Bucks or the Celtics? So we talked about how wide open the West is. The Bucks and the Celtics have long been thought of as the kind of a collision course to the Eastern Conference Finals. The Celtics have been despicable of late, Seth. But I think I would still favor those two to come out. Do you think anyone else has a chance? Seth, what do you think? I'm going to guess you're going to say no, because you're not a Sixers guy.
What's the question? Does anyone else have a chance?
I guess, what do you believe anyone else will come out of the East besides the Bucks and the Celtics? Would you be surprised?
Do you feel like he's asked like 4 different questions in one question right now?
We're just workshopping. Do you believe? Okay, it's not patented.
If the question is, do I believe that either the Celtics or the Bucks will represent the East in the NBA Finals? Yes, I believe that. Do I think it's possible that some other team wins the East? Yeah, I think it's possible. But
who would you have like as your next player?
But here's the thing: having it possible or believing it can happen, I think, are two different things. And he's asking if you believe it can happen.
Yeah.
He's asking, I believe it could happen that somebody else,
a team besides the top 2 right now.
Yeah, I believe
are in the finals.
I don't think it will. I wouldn't predict it to happen, but
I'm going to say no. No, I don't believe it. No one else but the Bucks and Celtics coming out. Okay, I'll tell you why. Number one, the Sixers have James Harden.
Yeah, it won't be the Sixers.
I think they would be the best chance to come out of the East besides those 2 teams. Now, I have said in the past,
this is the best player.
I was going to say that's right. That's exactly what I was about to say. This is the best player Harden's ever played with, and he can go 2 for 11. They still might win a game, unlike in the past. However, there's another factor, Doc Rivers, who will be golfing in between each game. Just saying. It's got to be put out there. Now, the Cavs and the Knicks are probably the only 2 other ones you consider, right? And I mean, the Knicks, I don't think a team with Randall and Brunson, their best players, would be wild to be in the finals, right? Have we seen that since like maybe the Pistons? That's still better than them. I mean, I would be very surprised. The Cavs? I don't know.
The Cavs can't close out a game against all of these top tier teams, is what I fear. They've done it against Boston.
Yeah.
Pretty recently, a couple times. But tonight against the Sixers, I don't know if they might have only won one of their matchups, if that, against the Bucks this year.
Yeah.
So I I'm a Cavs stan, but I don't know if this is really the year.
I'm just gonna say injuries are always a possibility, of course.
Yeah. Right.
Barring any major injuries, I would be shocked to see a team that is not the Bucks or the Celtics come out of the East. I think it's much less wide open than the West.
I agree with that. And I think it must be said that the Bucks have a significant edge over the Celtics and should be highly favored over them with the way we've seen each of those teams play to finish out the regular season. Now, maybe the Celtics will kick it back into gear. Maybe it's all just variance with how hot the Celtics were to start the season, especially from three, and how cold they've been lately. But maybe it's just like, yeah, this Celtics team kind of goes through stretches. We've seen it before. They've pulled themselves out of it before. So I don't want to like panic too much, but the Bucks just look really good right now, really solid, confident, healthy, everything you would want for a team heading into the playoffs.
Would you
So
like?
the thing is, I've lost trust in Missoula over the last probably 2 months.
Yeah.
I don't know what his thoughts are. I don't know why he is turning into Doc himself and is scared to use timeouts. And I don't know why he's not closing games with like his full best players. And Marcus Smart is not the defensive player of the year that he was a year ago by any stretch of the imagination. So there's just a lot of things that are breaking down, I feel like, at a terrible time of the season.
I was going to say, Seth, if you'd like a minute to just rant about Marcus Smart, I would like to give you that space. You can throw some Grant Williams in there as well if you'd like.
I mean, Marcus is going to be Marcus, you know. And I think Missoula's philosophy, from hearing some of the like clips on the broadcast and stuff, he's all about a few things that you can control, like making your free throws, limiting offensive rebounds for the other team, limiting turnovers. And his belief, right, is that if you do those things and then you shoot a lot of threes, you're going to win most of those games. And if you don't like make your threes, then that's just kind of the luck of the draw. And so I feel like those are the times when he does call timeout is when, oh, we're giving up offensive rebounds or second chance opportunities, things like that. But he lets his guys play when they're just missing shots. And I don't necessarily agree with that because of the momentum factor and like being able to stop a run from the other team by taking a timeout. And yeah, it's frustrating when like Marcus is missing those threes, you know, with 20 seconds left on the shot clock and when it seems like we can't stop their other guards, you know, Emmanuel quickly getting to the hole time after time. But I mean, ultimately, I still love Marcus and hopefully we make shots in the playoffs.
That was exactly a minute. Great work. All right. Shall we do March Madness for those fans out there?
Sure.
The madness of March is upon us. I got to tell you, I had a really hard time picking this bracket, and I think I'm still tweaking. We have until 11 a.m. tomorrow. I might be changing this bracket.
I still haven't even entered one because I get like 4 picks down. I'm like, this is too much to think about right now. And I log off.
Sam, how much college basketball have you watched this year?
I have watched 0 minutes and 0 seconds of college basketball.
So why is it hard to pick games?
I've been listening to a lot of podcasts and reading a lot of articles. I like to do this thing where come March Madness, I like dive in and try to learn as much as possible, really for no reason. Because in the end, it's pretty much all luck and variance, but I just like it. It's fun, you know?
All right. I'm glad you're having fun.
Thank you. All right. Let's everyone give our favorite upset pick. So the fans out there, if Kyle releases this in time, can pick their brackets and win money off of us. Kyle, why don't you go first since you watched a modicum of college basketball and have some sense of what's going on.
Yeah. There's like you said, I feel like there's a lot of enticing upsets potential in this first round. And like I don't know what it is about this year. And that's why I keep like looking at the bracket and then I'll go away because I think, well, there can't really be that many upsets. But I also feel like there might be. Either way, all that said and done, give me those Furman boys over the Woo-Ha, whatever the hell they're called, Virginians.
Nick is not going to like this.
Shit sucks. Furman's about to wipe that ass, baby.
Yeah, I had them written down actually as one of my number one upset picks as well. They take a bunch of threes and layups, I was reading, Kyle, and that's what we like out of an efficient offense, right?
Yes, that's definitely what we like. And honestly, we could be seeing Furman in the Sweet 16. Wouldn't be shocked.
I gotta say, I have a notion of picking Furman Charleston in the second round and having one of them make the Sweet 16. It's just a notion right now, but those Charleston boys, I've been hearing whispers about them too. So I think that could be a wild region over there.
Sure can.
May I give my official upset pick?
Please.
Now I have like 5 written down here, and I don't know anything about college basketball. And also, I might not pick any of these come 11 a.m. tomorrow. So this is it's just I just want to talk about it. I want to talk it out. Now,
The king of contradiction strikes again.
the Louisiana Raging Cajuns.
Oh, the Raging Cajuns, he says.
I've got Louisiana picked.
Good.
Is that true?
Join me, my son.
Yeah,
There are a few things I like about this team, okay? Number one, at one point in their history, they had a mascot that was simply a cayenne pepper. I mean, need I say more? Now, you might say it doesn't all depend on the mascot. Well, who made a run last year? It was the Peacocks from St. Peter's, who were easily the best mascot in the tournament. So that alone gives us a chance.
There's
Number
precedence.
Number two, I've been hearing rumblings that Tennessee are frauds. They're fraudulent.
They also lost their star point guard.
They lost one of their best players, yeah, as Kyle alluded to. And, you know, these 4 seeds, a lot of them are falling down towards the end of the season. And Tennessee it kind of fits that bill. And either way, I like Duke to win in the next round. So I kind of feel like it's nice to pick Louisiana because I don't like Tennessee to go far anyway, you know? So it's kind of nice, little safe.
See, this is where you're wrong. Duke's not making it to the next round.
Ooh, because
that's another upset for you.
Because our boys from Oral Roberts?
Yeah, they're going to give them it deep.
So you like Oral is what you're saying.
Love it.
Love I can't disagree with that.
I mean,
I think my coin flip bracket might be do better than my regular bracket this year.
Oral Roberts
this year,
the Final Four. So you like the Louisiana Raging Cajun as well, huh?
I do, yeah. I like them because I think they might win.
And if they revive the cayenne pepper, it's game over.
I mean, you can't take the heat. Get out of the kitchen.
All right, Kyle, who's your Final Four? Who you got in there?
I haven't picked the Final Four yet.
I know, I've been back and forth as well.
But
I'll tell you, can I tell you who I have right now?
Yeah, please.
I have Duke. If they can get past Oral Roberts, it's an easy breezy. But I am nervous about that first game, to be honest. I have Duke. I have Arizona. I have them being Alabama in the Elite Eight. I have Houston, those boys. And then I have Kansas. So those are the 2 number 1 seeds. I had a real tough time with the West Division with Kansas, UConn, Gonzaga, and UCLA. I've heard of all those teams. Seems like a gauntlet. I ended up picking Houston to beat Arizona in the championship because I feel like, you know, the Final Four is in Houston. Jim Nance is his last year announcing the tournament, and he went to Houston. Sometimes it's written in the stars, you know what I mean?
You have to believe
Could be
it,
destiny.
Yeah.
Now, I could change that all by tomorrow, so.
Yeah, I made 2 brackets this year. I've won with our friend group and another for work. I picked Houston in the work one. For ours, I have Houston and Gonzaga playing in the Final Four, and then Arizona and Purdue on the other side. And I have Purdue winning it all. Just
Wow.
gotta give a bone to another Big Ten team. Plus, my grandma likes rooting for Purdue when the Gophers are bad. So
That's as reasonable as any reason to pick anyone. Kyle,
and then
who's your?
Zach Edey, who's like one of the 5 college basketball players I've heard of. So
He's a big boy.
He is big. So without picking any single bracket yet, and technically making any official picks at all on a bracket, if I have to pick right now, I'll tell you my Final Four shakes out to be Houston from the Midwest, Arizona from the South, Marquette from the East, and UConn from the West.
I like that.
And
I
in
really-
the championship, go ahead.
I was gonna say I really debated picking Marquette and still might, honestly.
Who's to say
It'd
I
be
do?
fun.
Who knows?
It's a local team, you know.
Honestly, I highly debated Arkansas, but just the probabilities of an 8 seed making it to the Final Four is just tough. But
They're gonna lose to the Illini anyway in the first round, so it doesn't matter, maybe.
I think if I've heard correctly, I haven't watched many Arkansas games, and I honestly have watched less college basketball this year than I have in years past, having a toddler that's just nonstop running around. I think Arkansas might have a couple lottery picks on their team, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
So just watch out for them. That's all
Yeah.
I'm saying. Those Razorbacks, they might get you in the finals. I'm going Houston, or in the national championship. Houston, Marquette. Give me those Houston boys. I've been riding. I feel like I ride with Houston most years. Just gotta keep
have they
going
ever
with
been
it
good
until-
before?
They've
Yeah,
been good the
remember-
last couple.
I think they made the national championship that year that you guys came down to Butler. Actually,
I have no recollection of that, to be honest. They've been good the last couple years, though. Weren't they a 2 seed last year?
Yeah, it does sound kind of familiar.
They're one of their best players, Sasser, is injured though, but I think he's still going
he's supposed to be back.
Yeah.
God damn it!
Can't you just imagine Jim Nance handing the trophy to Houston in Houston and saying, "You did it, boys. Congrats." I actually don't know if he hands them the trophy. He probably doesn't.
Probably not. So no, I cannot imagine that. And it's frankly insensitive of you to ask Kyle because he can't imagine anything.
I'm sorry. Yeah, this is gonna be listen, from all the pundits I've listened to actually know anything, they're saying this is one of the more wide open fields in recent memory. So it could be a wild ride, and I'm really looking forward to it. This is my favorite sporting event of the year, despite not watching college basketball all year. It's just it's the coolest event in my opinion. And I can't wait to not do any work tomorrow while I watch it. I hope
Yeah,
my
I'm
boss
staying
doesn't listen to
home.
this.
Yeah, I'm staying home tomorrow. Staying home Friday.
Nice. I work from home Friday anyways, so
Love
should
that.
be good.
All right, boys. Well, we hit 3 sports today. People can't ask for much more.
How
I don't even know if they
do
have
it?
3 sports in Belgium. So, Kyle, why don't you send off our listeners with something to wet their whistles for the weekend?
When the beans break down and the beans fall back, all the boys know that they got to throw it back.